All right. Hey guys, let me know if I'm audible. Looks like a lot of people have already joined. Hi Monica, hi Shibharam, hi Jay Kumar, hi Aman. Am I audible? Just let me know. Give me a thumbs up and we can start. Yes? Great. So we can start. Uh, so I hope everyone has covered all the backlogs until now and people are up to speed with our syllabus. If we just go through our whole syllabus, like what all we have covered until now, let me just open up that our classroom. So 0 to 1. So we have unlocked 5 weeks until now, right? This fifth week was unlocked yesterday only. Before that, these 2 weeks were unlocked, week 3 and week 4. This live class would be a part of week 3 only, and then we'll move on to week 4 and 5 and so on. I hope you guys have at least completed until week 4 till now, because we have covered a lot of really nice concepts until these weeks. For example, if I just recap over the weeks what all we have covered. So in week 2 we learned about MVC architecture and how to build our APIs. I'm going to use those concepts today in order to build our APIs. All right. So I'll be showing you how to build the APIs, some of the get, put, post, patch APIs, all these things, the exception handling concepts and the input validation concepts, the transforming API response. All these things are really important, and the Lambda and Stream API. So these concepts are really important. These were covered in week 2 only. After that was our week 3, and I have covered a lot of things from week 3 in the last live class as well, right? So in the last live class we covered the schema design for our hotel management system, right? So we set up all these things. Let me just show you. We set up the schema and entity relationship for our Airbnb project. We did that. In today's class, we're going to build the APIs. So in today's class, we'll be building the MVC architecture for our APIs, and also I'll be setting up the admin APIs. All right. For admin APIs, or you can call them hotel managers, right? These APIs would be covered today. And after that, week 4 was also a very interesting week. This was unlocked last week only. So here you have multiple miscellaneous topics. For example, again you would get to know about the setting up of a basic MVC project with data JPA. So this is just a recap for week 1, week 2, week 3, this first lecture, and then dev tools, so that we have hot reloading, and then Hibernate inverts and how do you work with auditing, making third-party API calls, logging, actuators, open API, Swagger, all these things. So basically these are some miscellaneous topics that we have covered. And after that, a really interesting concept that we have now unlocked is Spring Security. Your Spring Security is divided in 2 weeks. So this is just the fundamentals of Spring Security, where you learn about basic authentication stuff, right? We have not covered authorization here in this one. You will be learning about authorization and also Google OAuth and GitHub OAuth. These things would be coming in the next week only, right? But this week is also very interesting and important from interview point of view. Why? Because we have covered the internal working in this one. I've talked about internal working in great details in this course, because as we move to Spring Boot 1.200, we are going to implement our own Spring Security inside microservice architecture. So it's really important to understand Spring Security, right? So just go through these, and then also learn about JWT, how JWT work, not with respect to Spring framework or Spring Security, but in general, what are JWTs, how you can use them, what is the functionalities that they give. So learn about JWTs and then sign up with JWTs, and then Spring Security related exception handling. So these are really interesting topics. So at least I'm hoping that with that week gap that we have had last week, you guys are up to the speed till week 4, right? Some people are new joiner here. Some people are new joiner, but that's fine. If you are new joinee, that's also completely fine. What I would recommend if you are a new joiner is that you go through the live lectures that are happening. Basically don't miss any live class. Even if you are not able to understand something, still go through the live class. You will be able to learn something new, or maybe you can ask your doubts here. And then what you do is you go through the recordings of all the previous lectures at your own pace, right? You do that. So these are the weeks that have been unlocked until now, and with that, let's continue with today's class. So in today's class, as I mentioned, we are going to build the APIs, and we are going to work on these APIs, basically APIs related to hotel manager. Just to a recap, we are building a hotel booking and management system in which we have two entities. One is the hotel manager, another is the customer, basically, right? So hotel manager will manage the hotel, he will manage the inventory and manage the room, and then basically for guests or normal users, they are going to book, right? So they are going to search for the inventory and they are going to book the rooms. So this is how our flow is right now. So for that, we have to have some inventory, right? We have to have some hotels and some rooms in our database. So for that, we're going to work with these APIs in today's class. So we're keeping things light. Every week we add some new features until we build a really nice backend application. So for today's task, we are going to build the APIs here. So post API for creating hotels, get APIs for getting all the hotels, get API, patch API, and delete API for getting or updating and deleting the hotel with the hotel ID. And then also same for the rooms. So we're going to create some rooms as well. These are basically the room types. So maybe deluxe room or single room, all these things we can create the APIs for these as well. And then get, patch, delete APIs for the same. After that, we are also going to add some service related code that is not part of the APIs directly, but that's going to work internally. For example, we have to have an inventory, right? I have not put any API for that, but I'll probably add those APIs later on here only. For example, hotel managers can also update inventory for a particular date range. For example, they might say that, hey, between 25 December to 1st of January, I want to surge my pricing, right? I want to double my pricing. They can say that. So for that, we have to give them APIs to surge pricing or something inside the inventory. So we'll have to add the APIs to update the inventory. Yeah, this is the API. Okay, sorry, I have already added that. So this is the API to update the inventory as well. We're going to create this as well, and also some stuff related to inventory. For example, as soon as some rooms are getting created, the inventory should be created for those automatically. So what is this? Okay, so this is not your, like, you will be learning about these things, but in week 1 to 100 only. So basically this is a uploader service. This is a smaller part of the microservice architecture that I was teaching earlier in another batch. So here I was just talking about how to work with an uploader service, image uploader service. So we're using Kafka messaging queue, but we'll see how to deal with this. You can just ignore this. So this was week 2, and now we'll move to week 3, right? So I hope everyone is excited. I am noticing that a lot of people have dropped off, but that's fine. Voice is not coming properly. Let me just check if everything is all right. Is that the case for everyone? Mic is at 100% capacity. Let me just put the mic a little bit up here. I hope this is better now. Yeah. All right. So with that, let's set up the agenda for this week or today's class, basically. So we are going to set up the API, admin APIs, basically, or hotel manager APIs, hotel manager APIs to manage. Well, first thing that we'll manage is hotel. Another thing to manage is the room, and another thing to manage is the inventory. All right. So these 3 things we are going to do in today's class. These have to do with the managers only. We are not yet building the things that are related to the booking flow, as in we are not going to build the search or the booking flow in this one. We are just setting up the hotel manager APIs in today's class. Apart from that, apart from creating the APIs, I am also going to set up the what do you call it, response handler or response converter, whatever you can say, response handler, to update the response, basically. So it will manage the errors and to transform the API response, right? So we're going to learn about that as well. These things have already been covered in week 2 only. In week 2 I have talked about these things like how to manage errors and how to transform the API response. All these things have been covered, so we'll just learn about these two as well in today's class. So I hope we are ready to go. Where we can find the answer for homework, you guys can find the answer for the homework in Showcase channel. There is no dedicated place as such, but I have provided the GitHub links where you can find the answers. Those GitHub links are from the mentors only, so you'll find the GitHub link for our mentors who have already submitted their homework. So you guys can go through the solutions there. You'll find the solution there. Apart from the mentor solution, you can also look at the solutions of your teammates, right? So you'll be able to find the answers to your homework inside the Discord channel, which is Showcase. If you have not joined the Discord server until now, I would highly recommend that you do so, because that is really important for your learning. All right, so let's just move with this. Every hotel has its own hotel manager, right? Yes, that is correct. I believe I have not added a hotel manager. I should do that probably. Yeah, definitely I'll do that. This is something that we have not done until now. So let's just go do that. One more thing I would like to mention here is that in order to navigate through this project structure, like you find this zip file, right? You find this zip file under the live class resource tab. You find that. So what you do is you download that zip file, and after that open that project inside your IntelliJ IDEA. Once you have done that, you just go to this Git button right here, right? You will find this Git button. This is not visible in this screen, but yeah, there is a Git button at bottom left. Either click on that button or you do Command 9 or Control 9. That is the shortcut. It will open this window. All right, this is the window. So in here you will be able to find all the commits that I'm making to this particular project. So if you want to go to any particular commit, just right click on that and just check out the revision, right? Click on this checkout revision and you will be able to go to that particular week. So suppose I am at week 5, but you are still at week 2 and you want to look at the code at week 2. What you do is just go here and go to week 2, right click on it and check out the revision, and you'll be able to view the code that was in week 2. I hope that is clear. All right, so after that, let's get started with our controller. So basically I'm going to start from bottom up only. So let's start by creating our repositories. So in here I'm going to create 3 repositories. First one is going to be for hotel repository. Don't ask again, cancel. This is going to be an interface. Extends JPA repository, and then this is for hotel, and the ID is long right here. This is an interface. You don't have to provide any repository annotation here. Like even if you avoid that, it's still going to work. Why? Because we are extending JPA repository and we already have a class that is concrete class that is implementing this JPA repository, which is the simple JPA repository, right? So that is already implementing all of this, and since this is an interface, it doesn't make much sense to create a bean of it, because you cannot create a bean of interface. But still, if you want to put this repository interface, it's up to you, totally up to you. You can remove it from here and you can put it here. That's up to you, because this is just an interface. You cannot create a bean directly out of an interface. After that, we can also create a class for the room repository. This is again going to extend from JPA repository. We have already created a room entity in the last class, and then the ID for that is long, like this, and this is going to be an interface. And then last but not the least, we are going to create the inventory repository. This also extends the JPA repository for our inventory. The ID is going to be the long, and this is also an interface. All right, so after this we can start by creating our services. So let me just create our services here. I'm going to create a service directly, but we can also create interfaces and then implement those interfaces later. So up to you, like however you want to go with it. For example, what we can do is we can first create interfaces and then implement those interfaces, and then we can use those interfaces everywhere. That is much more production like code. So let's just go with that approach only. So hotel service, so this is the hotel service and this is an interface, as you can see, right? And then in here we are going to add certain methods which we are going to use, right? And then how to use these methods, basically what you do is you just come here, you create hotel service implementation, which implements the hotel service interface, and you implement all the methods. And now this is going to be a concrete class, and this needs an annotation like service annotation here. You can also add slf4j and required args constructor here, right? So this is basically the concrete implementation of our service. So I'll add the methods here in hotel service only. Before that, let's just create the DTOs. So I'll be going all over the places in today's class, so make sure to keep up with me, right? So inside the DTO, basically we're going to create the data transfer objects so that we can take input and respond with some output. So here our goal is to create APIs for these. Let me just show you once again. Our goal is to create APIs for these things. Until here, just look at these 4 points until now. So the goal is to create APIs for creating hotel, getting hotels, and also for the rooms, right? So we need to get the information for hotel and rooms. For that, I'm going to create my DTO. So let's name it hotel DTO like this. Inside this hotel DTO, I'm going to put all the information, or basically all the fields that I have added over here inside the hotel entity. So we can just copy and just take those fields that are necessary. First add data here so that we get all the getters and setters and toString methods, all these things. And then after this, just remove the fields that are not necessary. For example, we don't have to use all these columns annotation because this is not an entity, right? So just remove these things. So in a hotel DTO, we have ID, name, city, photos, amenities, created and updated at. Now these things are something that you might probably not need every time. Basically these are for editing purposes or auditing purposes, right? So you might not need them at all times, so you can remove them. It's up to you totally. Like if you want to put those fields here, you can put those fields here. Also, no one is stopping you from creating multiple DTOs. For example, this one could be for hotel admin DTO, and in hotel admin DTO we can pass these fields, right? We can pass local date time for created it at, updated at, right? If this is hotel admin DTO, and then we can create another DTO for client or guest hotel DTO, right? In those we don't have to pass in these fields. So I'm just talking about some extra stuff along the way, don't get confused. And then we have this hotel contact info, this is important, and then this active field to let us know that if the hotel is active or not, right? So with that, I think we are good to go. This is going to be our hotel DTO. Not going to put any validations here, but that is something that you can do on your own. So I'm just going to leave these things here only. After this, I'm going to create a room DTO, data, and then inside room, DTO means data transfer object. Let me just go through every comments until now. If we have any questions, just let me know. If you have any questions, just try to put those under the doubts. That would be better for me to go through, right? So it means if you are not able to create the project or something we went wrong, or code, we also copy code your proposed. It means if you are not able to create the project or something went wrong with our core code, you can also copy or clone your repository in the worst. Yeah, you can do that. Completely fine. You guys are learning through this course only, right? You are learning through this code that I am writing here. So completely fine to copy this, right? Just make sure that you are understanding everything clearly, because at the very end, it doesn't matter how much how much like syntactical knowledge you have. You should have a sound knowledge about the system and the schema design and all these things, right? These are the core concepts that any interviewer is going to test. Apart from that, the syntax and all these things one can easily copy and paste, or maybe Google. Alright, so we have created for hotel DTO. Now I was going to create for room DTO. For that I'm going to go for the room entity and I'm going to copy these fields to put those here in room DTO. Cool. So we need ID. We we can use hotel here as well, right? So this will return the whole hotel object. All right. So just take really close attention to all these things. For example, if you are returning another object here, right? Room DTO is returning another hotel object. So is your API returning it eagerly or lazily? For example, go to your room here, room entity. Once you go to your room entity, you'll see that this is a many to one. Now when things are many to one, they are lazy, right? So you'll get this result, eager, not lazy, eager. So the things are eager here. That means once you get your room, you are going to get your hotel at that time only. So it's not going to make another API call or going to wait for you. It's going to make a data call to get the hotel ID automatically. So something to keep in mind, how you want to save on your data calls. If you don't want to get the hotel when you are getting your room, that is also fine. In that case, what you can do is you can simply come here and do fetch, not here, fetch as lazy. So by default it is eager. By eager, what it means is that whenever you fetch a room by a ID, it's going to fetch the hotel associated with it without even you telling it, right? Without even you getting it. So this is something you can avoid by fetching it lazily. What this means is that now if you want to get a room by ID and if you don't need a hotel, in that case it's not going to fetch the hotel, right? So since I have made it lazy here, I can also remove it from here. Here. So it's up to you. Like if you need the hotel information along with the room information, then you can put hotel here and then make it eager also. But if you don't need the hotel information along with the room information, then you can totally skip it. In my case, I'm thinking that I would probably need the room details when I already have the hotel ID, right? I may be inside the hotel page, and inside the hotel details page I'm going to get the list of all the rooms that it has. I already have the information about hotels, so why would I need the hotel information again and again, right? So for that reason I'm going to remove this from here. One more thing that you can do is you can also put JSON ignore here, but I don't think I'm going to pass this hotel inside the room request DTO as well. So inside the JSON request object, I'm not going to pass the hotel directly like this. So it's probably better to just remove it if I'm not going to use it, right? So I've removed it from here, removing this ID. This type is something that we'll need. Base price, photos, amenities, all these things are great. Total count, okay. So room DTO has total count. Okay, so this determines how many rooms do we have. This should be named something else, I think total room count or something, but we can just leave it at that. All right, so then we have capacity, and then we can remove this created at, updated at, all these things. Great. Cool. So now we have this room DTO as well, and now we have this hotel DTO as well. One more thing that you could do is you could create multiple DTOs for request and response as well. So different DTO for request and response, basically one DTO for request. So inside your request body, you would likely not pass ID, right? Sometimes. So in that case, you can create another request DTO. This is totally up to you. This is just a normal class. All right. So once we have created our DTOs and our repositories, it's time to create our services. So first service is going to for creating the hotel. right? So in here I'm going to create this post and get APIs first. So inside my hotels, hotel service implementation, I'm going to pass hotel, create new hotel, and then in here I'm going to need the information about the hotel DTO basically. So hotel DTO, hotel DTO, like this. So give me information about this and I'm going to create it. I'm getting some errors. Okay, so this is an implementation. Wait a second. Let's come here, put it here. So this is the interface, right? In this interface I'm going to create this method, create new hotel, and then after that to get the information about a hotel we have the get hotel by ID API. So that's again going to return a hotel. Get hotel by ID, and then we'll pass long ID here. So let's just go with these two APIs for now. So just come here, implement these two methods, and now we can implement these two methods. All right. So in order to create a hotel or to get a hotel by ID, I need to have the repository here. So private final hotel repository, hotel repository. This right here, can anyone tell me what kind of dependency injection is this? Like how am I able to inject this hotel repository here? How is this happening? Can you explain me what DTO does? DTOs are there so that you can transfer objects between different classes or different layers basically. So hotel DTO, I'm going to use this hotel DTO in order to pass the information from one layer to another layer. Now bear in mind I can use this hotel entity as well, because this is again a class, right? This is the same class as this one. You can see this has more or less the same fields. Then why did I create another DTO? Why could not use this hotel class? I could use this hotel class, I could use this hotel entity, right? But what happens is that sometimes you might want to restrict the amount of information you want to respond with, right? Maybe sometimes you don't want to respond with the photos or amenities or contact information. In that case you could create another DTO, and then you could use that object to talk around with. So it's just for abstraction purposes. Just for abstraction purposes we are creating different objects. Required Args constructor is using constructor injection, right? Constructor injection it is, yes. So basically I'm using this inside this implementation. You'll see I'm using this required args constructor, and this required args constructor is going to create a constructor for me coming from Lombok dependency that we have already added. So it's going to create a constructor for me with the required arguments, and since this is a final here, this is required, right? If I remove it from here, you'll see that I'm going to get an error saying that hey, you have not initialized it, so create a constructor to initialize it. And this is the constructor that I would need to create. So I don't have to create this constructor, right? I can simply comment this code out from here and put this at the rate required args constructor, and that constructor would automatically be created for me. All right. What's cool is that I can also add multiple private final here, and then it will automatically create constructor for me for all those required arguments. So now I can use this hotel repository in order to create a new hotel. So I am getting this hotel DTO, right? One good thing that you should always do is put logs. So log.info, creating a new hotel with name hotel DTO dot get name. All right, so one thing that I've already mentioned, that I'm not going to use any kind of validations here. Like I can use validations here, but that's going to take a lot of time, which I don't want to spend here. But that is something that you can easily do. For example, you can say that hey, you have to provide name, you have to provide city, you have to provide photos, all these things, right? And you can add your validation methods automatically. So all these things I've already covered in great detail in week 2. So you guys can do that if you want to put validation in your project. I'm simply skipping it for convenience purposes only. So we have this create a new hotel with name, hotel dot get name. After that, I'm going to convert this hotel DTO to hotel entity. Now in order to do that, I'm going to use model mapper, which I don't have yet, I guess. Let me just check if I have added hotel model mapper. Yeah, so we don't have any model mapper dependencies as of now, so let's just go ahead and download one. So model mapper maven, and just get this dependency. This is the model mapper dependency. Just download it, and now we can use it. In order to use it, we have to create a configuration and create a bean of it. So config dot mapper config configuration public model mapper like so. So we're going to return a model mapper from here, and we can inject it inside our classes. So for example, I need it here, so I can add it here. Private final, again I'm using private final. Basically this is again a constructor injection, constructor dependency injection. So model mapper is going to inject it automatically. So first of all, I need to create convert this hotel DTO to a hotel entity, right? So hotel equals to model mapper dot map this hotel DTO to hotel dot class, right? So we need to provide the class, like to which class you want to convert this object to. So this object is of type hotel DTO. I'm saying that take all the fields from this hotel DTO which are present inside this hotel and convert this hotel DTO to a hotel, right? So since all the field names here are the same, it's going to easily convert all the fields from hotel DTO to a hotel. And now we have this hotel. Now we want to save this hotel, right? So to save this hotel, we have this hotel repository. So before that, there are some fields that user might not put. For example, a hotel, we can say that when a hotel is first created, we can mark the active status as false in the beginning, so that it's not available directly, right? We can create another API just for updating the activity of a hotel, so we can activate a hotel whenever we want. So for that, I'm going to mark the hotel dot set active as false initially. So basically initially hotel is active, it is onboarded on our platform, but it is inactive. That means there are not going to be any inventory for it as of now, right? So we're not going to search for it in our search queries, or we are not going to book this hotel as of now. There are no inventory for this hotel, it's just onboarded onto our platform. All right, so set active as false, and then we can save this hotel. So hotel equals to hotel repository dot save the hotel. This will save the hotel, and now we need to return a hotel back. Actually, I want to return a hotel DTO, not a hotel, so I have made a mistake here. Let me change it back to hotel DTO. So basically this has to be a DTO, right? Because we are using a DTO to transfer object from one place to another. Yeah, so let's just change it to hotel DTO here and also here. So we have the hotel here, right? And then we want to convert it back to a DTO before returning it. So model mapper dot map this hotel to a hotel DTO dot class, like so, and now we can simply return this hotel. So creating a new hotel, and then right here we have created a new hotel. So let me just log it. Created a new hotel with id hotel dot get id, like so. So this would help us creating a new hotel, and then it will create a hotel. So this is a service code. Let's just create this service as well, get hotel by id. So get the hotel, getting the hotel with id, and then we can simply use the repository method. So hotel repository dot find by id, and we can pass this id here, and then this will return us a optional of hotel, right? So or else throw, we can do or else throw. All right, so what I'm saying here is that you find by id. If it is found, then simply return it, right? Simply return it from here. Get the hotel first, hotel equals to this. If it is not found though, simply throw an exception, throw a new runtime exception, hotel not found with id, like so. Wait a second, we have to provide a supplier like this. Yeah, so we can throw an exception if the hotel is not found, but if the hotel is found, then simply get the hotel like this, and then we can convert this hotel to a hotel DTO like this. All right, one more thing that I'm thinking is that instead of using a runtime exception, we can create another exception here. So do we have? No. So let's create another exception here, custom exception dot resource not found exception. This one extends from a runtime exception, and we can create a constructor here with a string message like this. You can use it. Instead of a runtime exception, we can use resource not found exception. I hope you guys have gone through the week 2 lecture wherein we have talked about the exception handling. So now we can handle this resource not found exception in a different manner, right? So that's why it's here. Okay, so now we have these two API, these two service methods, and creating a new hotel with ID, this getting the hotel with ID, and then we have to create the controllers. So let's create the controllers here. Let's create the hotel controller. We can also name it hotel admin controller or something, right? So that's completely up to us, like however you want to treat it. We can name it hotel controller or hotel admin controller. That's completely up to us. Maybe we want to separate the admin APIs from the guest APIs in two different folders. If that is the case, then we should have two different classes for hotel, one for admin hotel and one for guest hotel controller, right? Something we can do. I'll just look at it later on. Currently I'm just creating a single class. REST controller request mapping would be coming from, so the structure that we are following is, let me just take a look. Yeah, there is an API v1 here, right? So we are following this API v1 approach. So in order to have this uniformly everywhere, we are going to put that here. So server dot servlet dot context path equals to /API /v1. Once you do that, you don't have to provide this /API /v1 every time, right? So this kind of becomes a constant across all the APIs in this particular project. So all the APIs in our project, they have to have this particular prefix, only then the API will go to their corresponding handler. All right, so we have this API v1 coming from here. After that we are going to put the slash, so we have API v1, and then after that we have the admin. So these are admins related APIs and these are normal hotel related APIs. So doesn't make sense to put admin here. API v1. So these are hotel admin related APIs, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. These 5 APIs. And then for searching, we have this search. Maybe I'll create another hotel search API for this one. So what we can do is we can use this class for hotel manager admin APIs, and for hotel search I'll create another class altogether. Yeah, that's great. So we can put admin here only. So API v1 admin hotels. Admin hotels. You can name it admin hotel manager, whatever you want here, right? This is just a prefix. After that we have to have the required access constructor, and then slf4j. Cool. So we're going to need the private final hotel service. Notice that I'm not using hotel service implementation here. This is just the interface, and even with this interface I'm going to get my hotel service implementation injected, right? Because it's going to take like the Spring Boot is going to find the implementation for hotel service, like the bean of the implementation of hotel service, and once it finds that bean, it's going to inject it automatically, right? So hotel service implementation is here, and we're going to create methods. First one is the post mapping. So post mapping. In here we have hotel, and we have admin hotels. We don't have to pass anything else. Public response entity of type hotel DTO. Create new hotel, and then inside the request body hotel DTO like this. So you're going to create a new hotel with this particular request, and then you can put log.info here as well if you want, like log.info. I can add attempting to create a new hotel with like this, but that is something that is completely option to you. If you can add this if you want. So attempting to create a new hotel, because we have already added the logs in here inside the service code, right? So we don't have to put logs here, but that's something that I'm doing here just one time to showcase. After this we can use the hotel service. So hotel DTO hotel equals to hotel service dot create new hotel with the hotel DTO, and then return new response entity of data hotel, and then http status dot created. Why created? Because this has created something, right? This has created a new thing, and that's why it's created here. Cool. Created has a status code of 201. You can see OK has 200, created had 201. After that we can also add a get mapping here if you want. So let me just do that here only. Get mapping to get a hotel by ID. Let's see, to get the hotel by ID. We can also add a API to get all the hotels of a hotel manager. Oh yeah, for that we have to have a mapping from hotel to owner, right? So let me just do that. As I mentioned, I'm moving all over the places in today's class, but that is normal in a project like this. So in this hotel we have to have a owner. Someone was also mentioning this, that hey, you should also add owner. I guess it was Chipagiri Sumant. So each hotel has to have an owner. So what I can do is I can come here at the rate. So each hotel will have one owner in this scenario. So hotel, and then one person can have multiple hotels. So this would be a many to one mapping. And then in here we can have private. We are creating user here, user, and that user would be the owner, like this. So many to one mapping to the owner, like this. All right. So using this we can find all the hotels that belong to a particular owner. Right now let's just go with getting the hotel with particular ID. Get the hotel with ID, public response entity, get the hotel with a particular ID, get hotel by ID, path variable, long hotel ID, and then I can use hotel DTO hotel equals to hotel service dot get hotel by ID. In here we can pass this hotel ID, and then we can return this, return response entity dot okay hotel DTO, like so. So just like that we have created two APIs here, right? One for creating a hotel and one for getting the hotel by ID, and it only took us 47 minutes. Okay, so let's just run this and see if it is working properly or not. So let's just test these two APIs and then we'll create more. Okay, so looks like this is creating again and again, probably because we have made this create. Yeah, so let me just make it update now, so that my data is not getting lost again and again, right? It's a development data only, so it doesn't matter much here, but I'm making it update now. Cool. So after this, let's open Postman here. This is Postman. I was already twinkling around with the workspace, newly created workspace here. I'll share it with you guys. In here, this is for creating a new hotel. So let's see if all the fields that I'm adding here are the same fields or not. So let's go step by step now. Once more, I'm repeating everything again. So if you guys were not paying attention, I would like you to pay attention now. So what's happening here is that this is the API, right? This is the controller. Our API will start from here, admin/hotels, API/v1/admin/hotels. And then we have this post mapping to create a new hotel. In here, we need to pass in the hotel information because we are creating a new hotel. So as a hotel manager, we have to provide the hotel information here. Notice that I'm not putting any hotel authentication as of now to check if the user who is trying to create a hotel is actually the hotel owner or not. That part will come later, right? That part will come when we learn about the Spring security and stuff. For now, we are not that interested in that, right? We'll learn about Spring security when the time comes. As of now, just let's look at the APIs only, right? So yeah, so we need name, city, photos, amenities, contact info, and active. name, city, contact info, amenities and photos. Active I have not provided here. Even if I have provided active, I am hard coding the active to false, because I don't want to activate the hotel as soon as the hotel is being created, right? I don't want to create the inventory for the hotel or something as soon as the hotel is created. So that's why it's currently inactive, but yeah, hotel has been created. Contact info, let's just look at this. Contact info, address, phone number, email, location. So address, email, phone number, location, all these things. And then amenities and photos. So I'm providing these fields like this. So you can pass string array like this. Later on we'll also learn, when we learn about the front end part, that how to upload images over to different type of clouds that we have. Alright, so right now we are just passing string everywhere. And then with this, let's try if this works. Hit send. Looks like it worked. So here you can see we are getting the ID as 1. Then the name of the hotel is this, city, photos, amenities, contact info, and active is false by default, right? Like this is what happens when we create a hotel first time. And then we can take a look at the database as well. So for that we have connected it with dbeaver. So in here we have this Airbnb database. So let's just refresh it. We have created hotel only. So in here you can see the hotel is here, created at is this. Owner ID is currently null, but that is fine. We'll be updating this owner ID with the current user who's trying to call this API. Later on, that part will come later on. Here we have the updated at address, city, email. All right, all these things are great. Cool. So we are able to create a hotel. And now it's time to get the hotel. So for that we have another API. So this is to get all the hotels. I have not yet created this API, but I've created another API which is this hotel. Let's just create another here. New request, get hotel by ID, admin hotel /1, and then hit send. And yes, you can see that we are able to get the hotel with ID 1. All right, so this part is working. We have successfully created 2 APIs. One was to create the hotel, one was to get the hotel, and this part was not that difficult to understand, right? Any questions as of now? Let me just go through all the questions. Are we not doing global exception handling? Yeah, we will do that later on. In this class only I will do that. Basically this was there in the agenda only. You can see manage the error and manage the API response. This user and owner concept or admin of a hotel did not get requirement. Can you the user and owner concept in the admin API? So basically owner is someone who owns this hotel, and since every user in our system is a user object here, so this is a user. What is a user? A user is an entity who has email and password and name and roles, right? This is a user. And then we are saying that each hotel can have an owner as a user, right? Basically what I'm saying is that suppose Mr. Singhania is a person, is a user who is the owner of a Taj hotel, let's say, right? So we'll create a hotel named Taj, and we'll create his identity also. We have a user named Mr. Singhania in our system, and then he will be the owner, right? And here I have added many to one. By that what I mean is that Mr. Singhania can own multiple hotels. So that means one user can have many hotels, right? Can own many hotels. So that's why it's a many to one mapping here, and that's why you are seeing that join column here inside our database. You see this owner ID, this is the join column that you are seeing. That's coming because of this only, right? Is this project made before this class? Is this project made before this class? No, this project I'm doing this in front of you guys only. If you're asking, so basically this project is a continuation of all the projects that like the previous project only, right? So what happens in this course is, if you are new, what happens is that we are working on a single project only, and throughout this 0 to 1 we'll keep working on this project only, and we'll keep modifying and keep adding new features in this project only. So in the first class we looked at the schema design, like the requirement gathering stuff that happened, and then in the next class we created the entities, and then this is the third class for this project in which we are creating the admin APIs. And then in the fourth class of this project we'll be working on the guest level APIs, and then probably we'll add Spring security related stuff and all these things. So that's how we are going. Only controller will be different, or all layers? No, you don't have to create different layers for your service. That actually depends on you only, but I won't recommend it. Why? Because all the things belong to hotel only, right? Maybe you want to segregate on the basis of this prefix. Some people do that. What some people do is that they say that, okay, if this is admin, then this would be hotel admin controller, right? And this hotel admin controller will have a single hotel service, and then your normal controller will also have this hotel service. So two classes can inject one class. That can happen, right? That's normal, but that is again up to you, totally your choice. Depends upon your organization as well, how it's working. I'm just talking about my best practice that I'm following. All right. Okay, so now we have created two APIs and these are working as well. So let's move on to create more APIs. So this one was for hotel ID, get mapping. So put get, and then let's create a put mapping. This one's for updating the hotel, so slash hotel ID. So I like to go in the reverse direction only. So this is going to update the hotel, so return the hotel DTO, update hotel by ID, long ID, and the hotel DTO, and then implement this method update hotel by ID. So first of all we need to get the hotel. So this is how I'm going to get the hotel. Getting the this is the updating the hotel with ID this. So first step is to get the hotel. This is how we are getting the hotel, and if we have received the hotel, we are going to update the hotel, right? So for that we are going to pass all the information from hotel DTO to hotels. So for that I'm going to use this model mapper dot map everything from the hotel DTO to the hotel. You can see this is the source, this is the destination. So all the fields that are here are going to get transferred to this one only, and then we'll take this inside hotel only. Hotel equals to this. Okay, so this doesn't return anything, this just maps. Okay, so now our hotel DTO has put all the information in this hotel, and now we can save this hotel. So to do that I'm going to do hotel repository dot save the hotel, and we can get it here in this object only, and then we can return it. Return model mapper dot map this hotel to hotel DTO, like so. So we are updating the hotel with the hotel ID like this. And then we can also have an API to delete the hotel. I don't think that we should actually delete the hotel from the database forever. Many of the companies don't do that. Many of the companies don't delete the data like this so easily. Actually, they archive the data, as in user is not able to view their data in their database, but the data is still there in the database, right? They maybe have added a flag there which is invalid flag or something, and they simply update that flag to invalidate that flag or something, or archive that object. But we can also add that if you want, right? So doesn't take much. Let me just put that here. Hotel DTO or boolean, delete hotel by ID. In here we'll have to first check if the hotel exists or not. So boolean exists equals to hotel repository dot exists by ID. If it doesn't exist, then we can throw new resource not found exception. Actually, we can just copy and paste this one. But if it does exist, then we'll have to delete it. So we'll do hotel repository dot delete by ID, pass in the ID, and then actually you should not delete it directly like this. What you should also do is, I'll actually do that later on once the inventory is done. I'll probably do that in the next class if we don't have the time today, which is delete the inventories or future inventories. So this is actually a to do. Okay, so now we have deleted the hotel and we can return true from here. Cool. So it's time to create the controllers for these now. Update hotel by ID. We have the path variable hotel ID, and we also need the request body. Then we get the hotel. Update the hotel by ID, pass in the ID, and then pass in the hotel DTO. And then we can simply return this hotel, updated hotel, like so. And then we have also created another one, which is delete mapping. And then we can simply copy this. We don't have to return anything, so this could be of type void. This would be delete hotel by ID, and then we can simply call this method boolean is deleted get hotel. This would be delete hotel by ID, pass in the hotel ID. We don't have to do anything with this response. Actually, we don't have to return the response from here. If it is successfully deleted, then we will simply return a successful response from here. Response entity dot no content dot build. Let me update it. They are also saying that you can remove this, make it void. So I have made it void. We are not returning anything from here. That's fine. Okay, so now these 4 APIs are done. Let's run this and check if it is working or not. So we have successfully created get and post. Now it's time to check the put and delete, and this will complete the CRUD APIs for this one. So let's create another one. This one would be to update the hotel. This would be a put mapping. Put mapping to update the hotel with ID 1, and then in the body we need to pass in a JSON. Let's say I'm going to copy the same JSON, copy it, update the hotel, and then I'll probably update the let's say I want to remove the AC, and then let's add the garden, right? So we are updating the amenities here in the hotel with ID 1. Let's try it, hit send, and we are getting internal server error here. Let's see what is wrong. So we are updating the hotel with ID 1, so we are able to hit the controller, and you can see we are also opening this Hibernate API. So that means Hibernate DB call, that means we are able to call the database. And then something has happened here. Hotel was altered from null to 1. Oh yeah, that is true, that we have to actually update the ID. No one should be able to update the ID inside the put API. That is a mistake that we should actually correct. So inside the implementation, that's actually a really good thing that happened, because in the update hotel by ID, even if you do this model mapper.map, sometimes it might happen that in your DTO you don't have the ID, or you are not providing the ID. Even in that case, your hotel should not be left without the ID. So this error came because we have actually created our Hibernate or JPQL in such a way that hotel has to have an ID. So that's why this error was coming. But we should actually make it so like this. So hotel dot set ID to this ID. So here what I'm saying is that even if this model mapper does not, even if this hotel DTO does not have any ID, and even if this ID becomes null, you still have the ID here, right? So just use this ID, hotel.set ID to this ID, and then try to save it. This time you will not get this null ID issue. Let's just first try to get the hotel by ID 1. If the hotel is still present, yeah, hotel is still here, and then still with the previous amenities. Our task is to update it, so update the hotel, save. We are updating the amenities here, so hit send. Again getting the same error. Okay, so maybe something else. Not null property references a null or transient value active. Yes. So see, this is why your validations are really important. So here we are getting not null reference and all these things. Earlier also we got the not null thing, right? So that is coming because I have not added any validations, custom validations, all these things. These things you can add. I am simply going to add a check here. So basically I am setting the active to false here explicitly. This is something that I'll do. Hotel.set ID. So maybe someone's trying to update the active to false, so they should provide that. they should provide the active. If they are not providing the active, then what should we do? Or maybe sometimes they will not provide anything, right? And I think if they are not providing us any fields, not much we can do here. This is an error that should come if you're not providing any fields, right? So in updating we have to provide this field. Actually this is a valid error. So we can just do active to, let's say, false, and this will work. Yeah. So here let's see, we have updated the amenities successfully, right? We have added garden here, we have removed the AC from here, and if we try to get the hotel by ID now, your amenities are updated. Let's take a look inside the dviewer as well. So you see in dviewer you get your amenities like this in an array. You can click on this button and this will show you all these things in 1.1, 1.2, 1.3. Also your photos are like this, right? So this is how it's going to store the information. It's not creating another table. Bear in mind that it's not another table. It's just the same table is able to store array of string in PostgreSQL. Alright, so we have this, and then let's also test the delete API. So add request for delete the hotel. So delete the hotel with ID 1, let's say. Let's try to delete it, hit send, and 204 not content, no content, that means it should have deleted. Let's try to get the hotel by ID, and yeah, we are getting internal server error. I'm going to add a custom exception handling so that we are not getting errors like this. Let's look at the error. Should be that your resource not found. Yeah, resource not found exception, right? So I'll add a resource not found exception handling later on. Yeah, so we are done with all the APIs, all the hotel related APIs for the admin. And these are the CRUD APIs: create, get, update, delete in Spring Boot. After this I'm going to handle the so basically the next task is to create the same APIs for the rooms now, and then for the inventory. But before moving to that, I'm going to handle the exception related stuff. All right, so for that I'm going to create my advice. So 4 classes I would need, and actually I'm just going to copy and paste these classes because these are going to be the same everywhere. What you can do is you can simply copy and paste these classes anywhere you want. What are these classes? So basically these are API error, right? Your error is going to remain the same forever, at least in all the personal projects that you want to build after learning from me. You can keep these things as same in all your projects. And then your API response can also remain like this, and then your global response handler can also remain the same like this, and then your global exception handler can also remain the same. So in here you can see resource not found exception is being handled like this, that if you're getting a resource not found exception, handle it globally by creating an API error object and then build error with response entity and return this response. So we are now elegantly handling resource not found exception. So instead of throwing exception like this, instead of not giving user like what is the exact error, now we will give the information like what is the exact error. So let me just run this application again. You see, even after copying and pasting this whole code, I do not have to change anything. I do not have to modify anything. That's the really good thing about this folder. You can simply copy and paste this folder in any of the project and it will simply work. Okay, so now I can hit send, and you can see my errors are now being handled elegantly. That hotel not found with ID 1, so that is the error. So you are trying to find the hotel with ID, get the hotel with ID 1, and that hotel simply does not exist. So first create the hotel, and now you can see the hotel is created with ID 2 this time. All right, So that part is done. Let's move on to room related APIs now. So for that, I'm going to create a service for room. It's going to be an interface. So what are the APIs here? Let's look at the APIs now. We have to add this patch API as well. So I'll add this patch API directly right now only, because our hotel has something called active field, right? So we can create a patch API for that to activate the hotel. Let me just do that right now before moving further. So inside the hotel service, void activate hotel. Just pass in the hotel ID and we will activate the hotel on your behalf. So first of all, we'll check if the hotel exists or not. Activating the hotel with ID, hotel ID, find by hotel ID. If it doesn't exist, then simply throw an exception. And then now we have the hotel. We'll update the set active to true, and then we'll have to do create inventory for all the rooms for this hotel, and after that simply return. So this is the activate hotel API, and then we are going to create a controller. Yeah, this would be a patch mapping. So patch mapping, you use these mappings whenever you want to update a few things in your entity. You don't want to update the whole object or something. You just want to update a single field. So you use patch mapping when you want to maybe update a single thing, and then the API is like this, that activate or update name. So your API has to also be like this only, that you just want to update the name or update address API. So if you're creating an API called update address of hotel like this, then makes more sense to make it a patch mapping rather than a put mapping. So in here we get the hotel ID, activate hotel, this is the hotel ID, activate the hotel, and then simply return. So that is that. Great. So after this, let's move on to the room related things now. In room, we need to create the post mapping, the get mapping for the room, so that we can define like how our room is, and we can get the room in a particular hotel. So API is API v1 admin hotels, hotel rooms. Okay, and then we have get mapping, patch and delete mapping for the rooms as well. So kind of like the same thing that we have done here, similar things we are going to repeat again. So if things were not making that much sense earlier, probably they should start making sense now, because we are repeating this more or less the same stuff again. So for that we have this room DTO. We are going to use this room DTO only. So room DTO, create new room, room DTO, and then get all the rooms. So room DTO get all rooms of hotel or in hotel. So here we need the hotel ID, and we can get all the rooms within a hotel. What else? We have the get a single room by ID also. So get room by ID. And then we have the patch mapping here. In room we have patch mapping. I'll probably add it later on. Before that we have this delete mapping as well. When we are deleting a room, we will delete the corresponding inventory for that room. So that makes sense. So void delete room by ID. Okay. With that, we are good to go. We can create a concrete class for this. Room service implementation implements the room service. I hope all the things are making sense, guys, and the speed is not too much and you are able to understand everything. If that is the case, just simply give me a thumbs up, or if it is not making that much sense, if I should go any slower, just let me know. I think I'm going at a good enough pace here. It might seem that I'm going a little bit faster because I'm writing code here along the way, so it's not that fast also. Just let me know if you have any kind of particular issue with the way I'm teaching, and I will try to correct it. Nihal Singh says, how effective it would be if we have to update different fields after certain interval of time. How to handle that using path mapping? Path mapping. Yeah, so that if you're asking me about how to update different fields using the patch mapping, not the path, then you should go through the week 2 where I have talked about a way to update different fields with the help of reflection concept. So inside the patch mapping there is a reflection concept, but most of the time in your production code you won't see that being used, because even if you want to update a few fields, you should provide your all the fields during any update procedure. There is a very good reason behind that why you should do that, so that at every update we can actually check and see which fields are being updated, and if two fields are interrelated to each other, then we can take a look at all these fields, like which fields need to be updated. And if you want to update a single field or maybe one or two fields, then you should create different patch APIs for these fields. Like that is a good way of going about it. That is the best practice of going about it. But even after that, you want to handle dynamically, you want to handle updating of multiple fields, then for that we have reflection concept, which I have covered in detail in week 2, so you can also go through that. So why we are not using reflection here, as I have mentioned, just for the same reason that I've just mentioned, right? It's not a good practice. If you want to update a single field, then for that we should create different APIs. If you want to update the whole thing, then for that you use put mapping. Reflection is the concept that I have just covered in the classes, just to show you what you can do with Spring Boot and with Java and with reflection, but that is generally not recommended. Muhammad Tariq says, provide me GitHub link for this project. This project would be available in the resource tab. All right. So once this class is over, you will get the recording, and under the resource tab, you will get the code. Don't worry. All right. So we'll create a room @service @required ask constructor SLF4J. We need the private final room repository. Let's create new room. So for that, so the process is more or less the same every time. First of all, log.info, creating a new room, creating wait a second. When you create a new room, you have to specify which hotel. Yeah, I have not added a hotel here. Long hotel ID. In which hotel do you want to create a room? Because one owner can have multiple hotels, right? So we need to get the hotel ID, and then after that we'll add a check like if this hotel really belongs to this owner or not. That part comes under authorization, which will come later. Get all room in a hotel, so this is good. Get room by ID, so this can work because we can get the room by ID, and this is also good. Getting a new room in hotel with ID, hotel ID. First step would be to create a room equals to model mapper. So model mapper dot map the room detail to room dot class. So let's just go through the room first. So we get room information, but we have to update the hotel information as well. For that we have to also check if the hotel exists or not. So private final hotel repository, and let me just copy some code from hotel service. So we have the hotel here, and then we have the room here. So room dot set hotel to this hotel, and all the other fields for this room should come from room detail only. Type will come from there, base price will come from there only, photos amenities will come from there, total count and capacity will come from there, created at and updated at will automatically be updated for us. So all this looks good. After this we can save this room. So room equals to room dot save. So you see this is a really nice trick that I have here. When I do room dot, I get this save, and when I click on this I get room repository dot save. How that's happening is because of an extension that I have installed here. Let me show you. So for that, just do double shift and then come here in IntelliJ. You search for the plugins, and then click on the plugins here, install plugins, and this is the plugin that I have installed, JPA Buddy. This is a freemium plugin, but I am using the free version of it, which works good for my use case. So after this we can return model mapper dot map this room to room dto dot class. All right, so this is how we are creating a room. One more thing that you should do is once your room is created, You should also create the inventory for it. I'll do this later on. Create inventory as soon as room is created and hotel is active. Okay, so our room is here, and now it's time to get all room in a hotel. Cool. So for that, let's just do this. Getting all rooms in hotel with ID, hotel ID. We have the hotel, and then we can return hotel dot rooms. Wait a second, I think we don't have rooms mapping here. Yeah, so we don't have a hotel to room mapping. We can add that. Actually, doesn't take much because we already have a room to hotel mapping. That should be there. Let me just check. So in room you should have a hotel mapping. Yeah, this is it, and you can see this is a many to one mapping, and join column is being handled by this room only, which is good. What we can now do is we can use a one to many mapping in a hotel. One to many. This would be private list of rooms and mapped by hotel. So now you can see I'm clicking on this hotel and I'm coming here. So what's happening is that if I do hotel.rooms, I'm going to get all the rooms in this particular hotel. Right, so I can check two things here. First thing I had to check was that if this hotel exists or not, right? So for that I had to call this API to check if the hotel exists or not. And once I found out that yes, this hotel does exist, the next step would be to get the rooms in this hotel. So for that I'm calling this hotel dot get rooms dot map to room DTO. Let me show you what happens here. So we are using map and stream here. You can see that once I did hotel dot get rooms, this returned me a list. I have to convert this list to a stream. So for that we have this dot stream. And if this is not making sense, then this is covered in this lecture only. If you just go to week 2, here we have this extra class on Java 8 Lambda and Stream API. You would be able to understand everything. So you do stream, and then after that you have this map method to convert one object to another. So we are converting all the room to the room DTO because we need a list of room DTO. Currently this is a list of room. So this is how we do that. And after that we have this stream of room DTO, but we need a list of room DTO. So for that we have this collect method to convert this stream to a list. Alright, so this is how we are converting a DTO to a room list. And we got all the rooms in the hotel. That's nice. One more thing, when we are trying to get a hotel, we don't have to get all the rooms. I think this is lazy by default. Yeah, this is fetch type lazy by default, which is great for us. Okay, so now we want to get the room by ID. Getting the room with ID, room ID. This is going to return me a room repository dot find by ID, room ID, or else throw resource not found, room not found with ID, room ID. And then I'll convert it model mapper dot map this room to a room detail dot class like this. So this is how we get a room by ID. Where would this be important? Where are we getting a single room by ID? I don't think this would be very interesting, or maybe you will be used in front end, this API, but this is here nonetheless. Now we have to create one for delete a room by ID. Excuse me. Cool. So for that, deleting the room with ID, room ID, and then we'll check if it exists. So boolean exists equals to room repository dot exists by ID, pass in the room ID, and if it does not exist, then simply throw an exception. If it does not exist, throw new resource not found exception. You can pass this message, and then we can delete this room. So room repository dot delete by ID, room ID. And one more thing that I would do is delete all future inventory for this room. Okay, so now we have these APIs for the rooms as well. We have added the service level code. So now we need to create a controller for this. New Java class. REST controller. Request mapping. We have API v1 already. So after that we need admin hotel ID as well. Yes. So /admin /hotels /hotel ID, something that we'll always need, and then we have this rooms. So maybe we can call it admin rooms controller. Just do shift F and F6. Rooms admin controller. And then we have one for post. Response entity of type room DTO, create new room, and then we need request body of room. Required ask constructor, private final room service, and then room service dot create new room. Why do we need room ID in here? So we need hotel ID. Yeah, that's correct. So we'll get the hotel ID from there, right? So hotel ID is always there. We can take it like this, @ path variable long. Okay, so this will create a room. Admin hotels, hotel ID rooms, and then we are simply calling the service level code. Nice and easy. And let's do for get mapping. To get the hotel within room within a hotel. Okay, so for that we don't need to do anything. Public response entity of type list of room detail. Get all rooms in hotel, and then we can simply take the hotel ID from here. We can do return new we return response entity dot okay room service dot get all rooms within a hotel, like this. And then one is get mapping with room ID. This returns room detail, get room by ID, and then we get hotel ID, and then we also get room ID. Like so. And then we have the delete mapping. Response entity delete room by ID, and then we don't have to do OK for this one. This will delete it, and then we can return new response response entity dot no content dot build, like this. Okay, so now we have created the controllers as well. It's time to test these things. So let's run this and test. Tarun says it would be great to from your team learner how to create Jira. Jira is something that you can learn. You will not find Jira or these things in your course projects, right? This is something that they use in companies. What should create multiple patch API for? Nihal Singh says, is it a good practice to create multiple patch API for different fields? Yes, it's really a good API, a good practice. See, if you want to update a lot of fields, then put API would be the way to go. And if you want to update, let's say one field, let's say enable room or activate room or update name, update email of user. For these things, you would use patch APIs. If you want to update the whole profile of user, update profile, doesn't make sense to make it a patch API. Make it a put API and pass all the fields. Just use this as a thumb of rule. Okay, so where was I? So now we'll get to the rooms. These are the two things that I have added. So API v1 admin hotel with ID 1. Make sure that you have a hotel already, otherwise you won't be able to create a room in that hotel. Let's see if you have a hotel. Hit send. Okay, so this is a different API that I'll teach you later. Hotel not found with ID 1, so we don't have any hotel. Create. Okay, so we have hotel with ID 2 and ID 3, but we have deleted with 1. That's fine. Let's create a hotel room. Create a room with hotel number 2. This is the room. Single room base price is this, capacity is this, all these things to create a room. Hit send, and this has created a room. You see, our room has been created with all these fields, total capacity, total count, all these things. And then get all rooms in a hotel. Let's pass the room with ID 2 here. Hit send, and you see this is the only room that this hotel has. We can add one more room. Let's make it deluxe. Let's make it 200. All these things. Hit send. Now we have another room, and we can get all the rooms. Hit send. So this is single room, and this is the deluxe room. Alright, so you can understand that if we are on a hotel detail page, then we would call this API to get all the rooms in that hotel, and then we can get all these things. Alright, so this is done. And let's take a look at the database as well. So just come here on the room. You see, this is the room. We have created 2 rooms. Hotel ID for both are 2, single room and deluxe room, and the amenities are like this. All right, so this is how we create rooms. Get a room by ID, we can also do that if you want. Can we duplicate? I think we can duplicate. Get room by ID. We can get a room by ID 1 like this. Hit send, and you can see this time we are only getting a room with ID 1, single room. We can also get a room with ID 2, and we can try to get a room with ID 200, which won't be found, not found. Room not found with ID 200. All right, so this is all good. And then similarly we have a delete API, that is all fine. Cool. So now we have a hotel and we have rooms. The next thing in our agenda would be to handle the inventory. So we have already set up the error handlers and transform the API. We have done that. We have set up the hotel, we have set up the room, and now it's time to set up the inventory as well. So let me just do that. So what's going to happen is that as soon as you create something, as soon as you create a room, if your hotel is already active and you have added a room type, then we are going to create an inventory for you. Like our system will do that for you, excuse me, for 1 year advance, right? So let's say your room is been created today, and we'll create an inventory for 1 year in advance for you. All right, that's something that we'll do, so that all the users can now start booking the room. And if your hotel is not active, then we won't create an inventory for you. But if you decide to take your hotel active, then we'll create the inventory for all the rooms that you have in your hotel, right? So that's something that we're going to do inside the inventory part of it. So for inventory, we don't have a direct API, but we have one API, it seems. Yeah, this API. So we'll create this API as well. So let's just start. So for this, we'll create the inventory. We have the inventory repository right here. Let's create the inventory service now. This will be an interface. First step would be to create inventory. See, I'm going to create inventory 1 year in advance for the room. So for this, I'm going to create certain methods so that it's easy and we don't have to repeat a lot of code. We want to keep things dry, right? Don't repeat yourself. So for that, initialize room for a year. Yeah, let's just move with this method now, and we'll add more methods if need be. So let's create a class now. Inventory service. So this is the method. Initialize room for a year. Basically what we want to is to create inventory for a year for this particular room. So let me just look at the inventory entity for now and see what all is here. So in an inventory we have the hotel, we have the room, we have the date, booked count, all these things. I think it makes more sense to pass in room instead of room ID, because we have already figured out the room earlier. So from the room we'll get the room, we'll get the hotel, also we'll get the date from today date. Booked count would be coming from room. Total count, like book count would be 0 initially, total count will come from the room only. Search factor by default would be 1, can be updated future. Price would be coming from the room. City would be coming from the hotel. Closed would be false by default. Yeah, all these things. All right, so we'll add a builder pattern here. Builder pattern works with no args constructor and all args constructor. All args constructor is also needed. Right. Let's use local date today equals to local date dot now, and then local date and date equals to today dot plus years 1. So we can add a for loop here for today dot is after end date जब तक ये ना हो जाए, while it is not, we'll keep on adding 1 today dot plus day 1. So this is a normal for loop. We could take it from here and we could put it here also if you want. Oh, that is fine, we can just put it here. Okay, so today and date, all this is good. So now we have this room, we want to create an inventory object. So inventory equals to inventory dot builder we need the hotel will come from room dot hotel dot room will come from room. What else we need? Booked count is 0 dot city will come from room dot hotel dot city, and then date would be today's, so today dot price would be room dot price dot search factor would be 1, so big decimal dot 1. What else? Total count would be room dot get total count dot room inventory is not closed by default, so false dot cool. After this we can build an inventory. This will create an inventory and then we can save this inventory. So inventory dot save. This will initialize the inventory for us for one whole year. Okay, so now what we can do is we can use this method at two places. First one when we are creating a new room, and second one when we are activating a hotel. All right, so let's just go to the services, room service implementation, create inventory as soon as room is created and if the hotel is active. So here, this is the to do that I'm going to remove now. So if hotel dot is active, hotel dot active, only then. Otherwise, if the hotel is not active, then you won't be creating the rooms or inventory for that, right? So that is important. Private final inventory service dot initialize room for a year and then pass in this room. And once more we need it inside the hotel service. As soon as a hotel is created, basically as soon as we are activating a hotel, what we want is we want to go through all the rooms in that hotels and then we want to create the inventory for that. If the inventory is already there, then it might throw an exception because I have added unique key. Yeah, I have added a unique constraint on hotel ID, room ID and date. If the inventory is already there, then it will throw an exception for those days that hey, you are trying to create another inventory. So maybe on those days you want to update the closed, or that is something that we can take care later. Right now I'm just going to create inventory. Activate hotel. So you are activating hotel for the first time, assuming only do it once. We have the inventory service. We can call this inventory service. Basically we have to first go through all the rooms. So for room in hotel dot rooms, that was, what was it? It was inventory service dot initialize for the room, like so. And this is how we activate the room. Another is to detail a hotel by ID. If we are deleting a hotel, then we delete the future inventory for this hotel. All the future inventory for this hotel should be deleted. we have some way of deleting everything. Void delete future inventories. Let me see. Inventory service inventory depository dot delete we have delete all या फिर delete all by ID. We can provide a lot of IDs and then it will delete all of them. That is something that we can do. Someone is asking that why don't I use field injection? Field injection is not that recommended actually. Why? Because you might actually end up updating some fields, right? So it's not recommended that much. You might end up updating your inventory repository somewhere down the line, but since I have made it final, so there is no risk of me accidentally updating this. So it's actually recommended that you don't use field injection that much. We have date here, right? So maybe we can have something. Wait a second. So if we go to the inventory, in inventory we have date, right? So we can use this delete by date after, and then we can pass in the date and it will delete all the fields after that date. Yeah, that will work. Yes. Okay, so let's do that. Let's create a repository method in the inventory. Void delete by date after, like this, because in inventory we have this date field. So after we have after. I just want to check if this will work or not. So for that, let's see. Delete by date after Springboard. I mean, we can write the query, but it would be nice to have the query delete by this. Yeah, we have after and before like this, so we can delete by on this. Just wanted to check if we can use delete by on after and before date or not, with before and after or not. So I think we can do that. So it will delete all the inventory after a particular date. So that's great. So just get today's date. So local date today equals to local date dot now, and then do inventory repository. Oh, this will delete everything, right? Something we don't want. We need a room as well. In inventory we must be passing room as well. Yeah, this is the room. So we'll pass that here in the room repository, inventory repository. Delete by date after and read by date after and room. So room is this room. So for this particular room we want to delete after this date. Yeah. So after today, for this room, delete all the fields. This should delete all the future fields for this room. Cool. Now I can use it inside the hotel service. Wait a second. Delete the future inventory of this hotel. Okay, so this needs me to delete for all the rooms in this hotel. For that we have to do this. You have to get all the rooms in this hotel. So just do this. So we have deleted the hotel repository and now we are deleting all the inventory for it. Cool. So now our inventories are also going to get deleted. Delete future inventory for this particular room. Okay, let me see if more to-dos or not. So to-do, delete all future inventory of this room. This is inside the room service. We need to pass in the room. We are already checking if it exists or not. So instead of checking it like this, we can check it like this also. This will also give us the room. And then we can do this. Cool. Alright, so now after this, let's see if this whole thing works or not and if our inventory is going to get created or not. Any questions, guys? If you are facing any doubts or something, let me know. Okay, where was I? So this is the inventory and let's create one collection for, I don't think we need a collection for that. See, I have made one activate hotel, right? Patch mapping. So as you can see, I was mentioning about patch mapping, right? You use it when you want to update one or two fields. For example, here I am updating one field only. So for this purpose, this is the best candidate. You won't use put mapping for this. Okay, so this is a patch mapping inside a hotel. So I can create here. I think we don't have hotel with ID 1, we have hotel with ID 2 though. And this hotel has 2 rooms, right? If I get the hotel with ID 2, I should get the information. This is the hotel, and if I want to get all the rooms in this hotel, get all the rooms in the hotel. Yeah, here's the response. So we have 2 types of rooms here, so that's fine. We can activate the hotel. Hit send. and I got some error. Duplicate key violates unique constraint, hotel room. Okay, one more thing. I think I made a mistake here, which is I should add one thing, which is transactional. Transactional annotation is something that's very important here, and I don't think I've covered this until now. This part, transactional annotation, how it works internally, would come in 1 to 100 only. But what happens there is that if something goes wrong, then either everything happens or none of it happens with transactional annotation. So let me put that in the places where I'm calling two databases calls. So wherever I'm making two databases calls or making multiple calls, I should add transactional annotation there only. For example, here you see this is a hotel repository, so one call only, doesn't make sense to put it here. We can put it here, no harm no foul, but you should definitely put it where you are making two database calls. For example, here you see delete by id and delete future inventory, so put transactional here. What this will do is it will either do both these operation or it will not do any operation. So for example, if I'm getting error here, it will not say that hey, I have deleted this but I have not deleted the inventory. It won't happen once you add this transactional annotation. How it works internally, what happens behind the scene, it will be covered in 1 to 100 once we are covering, once we have covered AOP. Also a transactional here. And where is the activate? Yeah, this one. We got error here only, right? We got error here because cannot execute statement, duplicate key value, violate unique constraint, hotel ID, room ID and date. 2 1 this already exists. It already exists. Okay, so is it already active? Let's look at the database. Hotel with ID 2, is it already active? It is not active. Oh no, hotel with ID 2 is already active. Okay, so since this hotel is already active, it must have already created the inventory for this, and that's why we are getting that error, which makes sense. We can take a look at the inventory. Created one inventory and then we stopped. Let me just delete this row for now. How do I? Okay, so now we have deleted the inventory. Let's try to hit the same API again. I'm getting again the same error. Is it because it's somehow trying to put it in the same date again and again? Oh, that's happening probably. So maybe our for loop is initialize room for a year for this room. Today dot plus days. Oh, this should be today equals to today dot plus days. I think it doesn't put that information in this only. Let's see. It returns local date, but does it return previous date? Returns new local date. Okay, so this returns a new local date. That was my mistake. Okay, this time it should work. hit send, and this time we didn't get any error. Let's see if we activated successfully or not. Looks like we did. So we have added 732 entries here. Why? Because first 365 entities were for 66 by looks of it. So first 366 entities were for first hotel, first room type, and then the next are for the next room type. You can look it from here. So this is the room ID 1, right? For room ID 1 we created all these entries, and then after that this is for room ID 2, right? For room ID 2, room ID 1. For room ID 2 this is the price, room ID 1 this is the price, right? So this is how we are creating inventory for 1 year into the future. A good thing about this is now what any admin can do is admin can update the surge factor between a given date range. So what they can do is they can call an API to update the inventory surge factor for 25 December to let's say 1st January, or maybe some weekends or some day they can update the surge factor, or maybe they can close on some days. So by doing that we can easily factor in these fields while making pricing calculation, and also for searching or browsing. This would be very important. Booked count is 0 when you are first creating, and total count is this which you described while creating the inventory. All right, so all this looks great in the city of Delhi. Cool. So now we have this inventory. Let's also test some more things like testing the deleting. Let's delete a room and see if we are successfully able to delete everything or not. So for that, let me just create a delete API here. I'm going to delete a room with ID 1. Hit send. Got an error. Unable to delete on table room. Violates foreign key constraint on table. Inventory. Detail key ID equals to 1 is still referenced from table inventory. Delete from row. So it violates the constraint on inventory table which we have from the room table. ID 1 is still referenced from table inventory. We are trying to delete it from the so it's not deleting from the room because it already referenced in inventory. Okay, so we have to switch the delete call, then it works. Okay, so come here in the room service implementation. Here you can see I'm first deleting the room and then I'm deleting the inventory. So that is something that I am not allowed to do. First I'll have to delete all the inventory and then I can delete the room. Okay, let's try to hit the same API again. Now I'm getting another error. No entity manager with actual transaction available for current thread cannot reliably process remove call. First of all, it's a good idea to put a transactional here. Secondly, I'm getting no entity manager with actual transaction available for current thread currently. Wait a second, do we have anything? So I'm trying to delete for room 1. Let's see if we have inventory for it or not. Refresh. Room ID 1, yeah, we have it. Okay, and do we have the room? room with ID 1 is also here. Cool. So if both these things are here, then what is the issue? So it must be calling this API, then this, the inventory service delete future inventories, then it's coming here, it's calling this method. Let's run this in debugger mode and see what happens. So it must be coming here only, otherwise let me just put one here also. And hit send. Now we are here, that's fine. Then we are here, and this line is probably giving me the issue. Delete by date, after, and room. Yeah. Update or delete on table violates foreign key constraint on table inventory. Okay, I got the same error again. Okay. So the problem is that when we try to delete a room, it is referenced to inventory, and when we try to delete the inventory first, it is referenced to the room. So this is the inventory, it has reference to the room, that's fine, but room does not have any reference to the inventory, right? Yeah. So we'll have to delete the inventory first and then the room. Table room violates. We are not updating on the room first, we are updating on the inventory first, right? Delete on inventory and then delete on the room. Let's run this again. I want to check if the room is still here. Yeah, room is still here, and if the inventory is still here. Cool, both are here. Hit send. We are here, that's fine. Then we are here. We want to delete for this room after today's date, that's fine. Okay, so the call is going to room repository after that. That is the problem. Call should not go to the room repository if it is not able to successfully delete everything. And then I'm getting the error. Okay, got it. So we somehow have to stop this call here only, so that it does not go to this line. I'll see how we can do that. There are a couple of things, but those things need knowledge about threads and all, which I have not yet talked about here in this class. Those concepts are covered in 1-200 only. But I think we'll have to employ those concepts here. I'll probably do that in the coming class only. We shall say something. Not getting booked count and what is the issue? Booked count. Are these two questions or the one question only? So booked count is the number of booking that have been made, right? So here the booked count is 0. By this we mean that currently on this particular date, for on this date, this room has 0 bookings. So when we move towards the bookings part of this application, we'll see that this booked count would be updated. right? So on, let's say, 15th of December, this particular room ID has a booked count of 2. That means 2 rooms have been booked for this room type, right? And the total count is 40, so that means only 38 rooms are remaining. That's how the availability will change with time. So that's why we have all these for different dates. Could it be the same reason of today as we saw before? I didn't get you. You will have to write it again. Purpose of inventory, explain again. I think right now the purpose of inventory would be making much more sense. Inventory is here so that we can do two things. First of all, we can take a look at which room are available, so that whenever your user is trying to search for rooms, because how do you search? Just go to any of the apps. How do you search? You define the date range that I want to book this hotel room between this date range, right? You define a date range, and then we'll go to our inventory and we'll see that if this hotel is available, or if the rooms are available for this hotel between this date range or not. So one purpose of inventory is that. Second purpose of inventory is to book your booking, right? So that we can actually see that, okay, how many rooms have been booked, and then we can also calculate the pricing according to that. So we can increase the search factor on certain days, or we can increase the price based on the bookings. So if we have total count of 40, and if our rooms have been booked to, let's say, 39 or 38, that means our rooms have been booked to capacity, right? There are only 2 rooms, so we can also further increase our prices. So that's why we have inventory here. So inventory will come in very, very handy when the booking part comes. I hope the purpose of inventory is clear. But I think the reason we are still getting the delete error is because this line is not stopping here, delete query, and we are moving to further delete query. So for that we'll have to learn about things. I'll teach about these things later on, or maybe we can do away with that also. That I'll have to see, right? So I'll talk about that in the next class only. For today's class, I think we have completed everything in the agenda. Let's just go over that and see if we are to cover anything else. So we looked at this setup, the API for this hotel, and then room and inventory, and then response handlers to manage the error, and this, this all of this is done. One API to patch or to update the inventory between a given date range. This I'll create in the next class only, right? Because it has already been 11:30 and a lot of you have already dropped off. So this API is remaining, which we will cover in the next class. And then booking part, I would cover booking part with guest booking only, right? This part would come with guest booking only, because right now we don't have any bookings. In order to create a bookings, we have to create a bookings from the guest and then only we can manage the bookings from hotel manager part. So it makes more sense to handle booking once we cover booking from guest part. And then auth, sign up, verify will come on later only. All right. Cool. Okay, so I think we have covered everything, and then this pricing strategy and decorator design pattern will come on later. Cool. With that, if you have any more questions, just let me know. I'm just going to check the doubts forum. Every hotel has its own manager. Yeah, I've added the hotel manager in the beginning of the class only. In the end of the lecture, once go through the advice folder once. Yeah, let me just go through the advice folder. So if you look at this advice folder closely, all this everything that is here in this advice folder has been covered in the lecture only. Let me just show you which lecture. It's this lecture, exception handling and transforming API response. These 2 lectures, 2.7 and 2.8. I would highly recommend to go through these 2 lectures, and then you would be able to understand everything that I'm covering here and more. What's happening here is that this folder is responsible for updating our handling our errors and also transforming our API response. How are we handling our errors? Is with the help of this global exception handler. This is very, very important concept in Spring Boot, so just learn about it. I have covered this in great detail here in exception handling, right? How it works is that you define your REST controller advice like this, and then you can define your exception handler on multiple exceptions that you have. For this reason only, I have created a separate exception, which is this resource not found exception. So this is how I'm handling this exception, right? So that is first part. So for this reason, we have created this API error. This is a custom class. And then another is to transform our response. So to transform our response, I'm using another thing, which is this global response handler. This is another REST controller advice, right? What's happening here is that every time a request comes in, we are capturing that request before sending the response back. So before body write, this is the method that is responsible for updating our response body. What's happening here is that first we are checking that on which API calls should we update the response. So we are only updating the response of the APIs which are not part of the actuator and which are not part of the API docs. So these two are, this one is part of your what do you call it, V3 API docs. This is part of that Swagger documentation, right? This is part of Swagger documentation, while this is part of your actuator. All right, so we are ignoring these two API calls. Basically, we are not updating the response body for these two API calls. For other routes, for any other route, we are updating. So here you can see allowed route, any match of this. So if any match of this, then it is allowed. So this is how we are updating it. How do we update it? We get the body and then we wrap it inside the API response. All right. So if you just come here, you see that inside the API response, we are passing these three things: timestamp, data, and error. And that's why you are seeing these three things here every time. You are seeing timestamp, data, and error. Because every time we are sending the response, we are converting that response or we are wrapping that response inside this new object, which is this API response. And we are using this REST controller advice to do that. So it's a really nice concept. You should learn about it. Inventory is specific to a hotel or is it for all the hotels? Inventory is specific to a hotel or is it for all hotels? I hope this question is now answered, which was asked by Chippa Giri Sumant, right? Inventory is for all the rooms on different dates. It's not related to a particular hotel. One hotel can contain two rooms types and then inventory will be for all the room types on all different days. That's how our inventory is working. I hope this doubt is cleared. Any more doubts? And also, if you have any more doubts now, every Sunday Nishant takes a very nice doubt session on Discord. So join that doubt session if you have any more doubts that I am not able to answer during this live class. Or if you have any other doubts, then you can also connect with our mentors and ask them, have them talk to you one-on-one. They are there to help you only. Time is 9 p.m. So for Nishant's session, time is 9 p.m. Every Sunday at 9 p.m. he does that. Many of you guys already join. Or if you want to connect with other mentors, then you can ask anytime, right? Ask anytime on your doubts forum. They will answer you. Someone says, please send dbeaver software. How to install dbeaver software? I have already talked about that, right? It's there in this lecture only. In week 3, I guess, or week 2, I don't know. Yeah, this one. Database and dbeaver for analytics, right? So here in this lecture, if you go to the resource tab, you would find the link to install dbeaver, or maybe just do Google search dbeaver download and you would find it. If you're not able to install dbeaver, there are multiple other softwares as well. dbeaver is actually quite old in my opinion, so you can also use some newer softwares these days with nicer UI. It's something that I have been using for quite a long time. That's why I'm using it again. Is it necessary to give all fields of entity into DTO? No, it's really not necessary and actually not recommended at all. So for different use cases, you should have different DTOs. Here what I am doing is I am putting all these things here so that I only have to deal with one. But what's recommended is that you create multiple DTOs for multiple use cases. Currently my use case is related to admin only, so that's why this one. But probably in the future you will see me adding making multiple DTOs for multiple use cases. Can we get source code of large best Uber project? This will help in learning. Sure, I'll upload that on Discord. Simply remind me and I'll add that on Discord. Excuse me. क्या डाउन करना है सर? डाउन कुछ नहीं करना. dbeaver डाउनलोड करने के बारे में कोई कह रहा था, तो डाउनलोड के लिए जस्ट इंस्टॉल dbeaver. Are we creating only one project in this course? Yeah, for 0 to 1 we are creating this Airbnb project. For 1 to 100 we will be creating LinkedIn project. So that would be another project. Did we have any Telegram or WhatsApp group? No, we are not going to have any kind of Telegram or WhatsApp group in this course. You have a Discord channel, which is a really nice community which you can join. Alright, if you have any more questions, simply ask me on Discord, or you can ask Nishant, or you can ask our mentors. Alright, with that I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye, take care, good night.